Top 10 documentaries about weird subjects. True crime documentaries have grown in popularity in recent years, and it seems as though a new docuseries about a serial killer or a family man turned murderer is released on a streaming service every week. These documentaries are both terrifying and fascinating, yet the subject they cover might become tedious after a while. If you've already tried to repair it by binge-watching Louis Theroux's entire library and want to widen your search, this is the list for you. In the list below you'll find an eclectic mix of films about unusual subjects. There are a few true crime titles on the list, but none of them are about serial killers, and the rest cover a wide range of themes from interesting hobbies to strange subcultures. Number 10. Bathtubs over Broadway, 2018. Bathtubs over Broadway, a documentary by Dava Wissanant, provides a view into the realm of industrial musicals which is often overlooked. These Broadway-level plays were popular in the 1960s and 1970s as a method for businesses to boost morale and sales. They put on elaborate but ludicrous musical acts about dog food and toilet paper, among other things. The song "My Bathroom" is much more than it may seem. "Where I Wash and Cream from the Bathrooms Are Coming," 1969, is particularly enjoyable. The film follows Steve Young, a David Letterman comedy writer who found these musicals while searching for humorous albums for his Dave's Record Collection segment. Bathtubs over Broadway, on the other hand, is more than a bizarre universe of unwittingly funny music. While it preserves a sense of strangeness, the spectator quickly learns to appreciate the subgenre's workmanship. Surprisingly moving, the film was a critical success, receiving a flawless Rotten Tomatoes score. Number 9. The Speedcubers, 2020. The Speedcubers is a 40-minute documentary about Rubik's Cube solvers Max Park and Felix Zemdegs, who compete in speedcubing competitions. You might not think you'd be interested in a niche story about a puzzle cube that most people abandon after 5 minutes, but trust me, watch it and you will. Speedcubing is an enthralling sport to watch, with competitors solving cubes in under 10 seconds with their fingers moving so quickly that they blur. Felix is portrayed as the cube's king, having previously set the world record for solving a classic 3x3x3 cube in the quickest time. It took him only 4.22 seconds, beating Yu Shengdu's previous best of 3.47 seconds. Max, who has autism and is rapidly climbing the rankings, is the documentary's other speedcuber. That may sound like the start of a competitive and bitter rivalry, but the two develop a supportive and sincere friendship instead. On the other side, this delightfully wholesome documentary deserves to be expanded into a feature-length film because it feels like it only touches the surface of the world of speedcubing. Number 8. Class Action Park, 2020. Gene Mulvihill developed Action Park, a theme park in New Jersey that was largely operating in the 1980s and 1990s. As a result of multiple mishaps, the park earned a reputation for being dangerous, earning it the moniker Class Action Park. The movie includes accounts of many rides and waterslides that were built without adequate safety precautions, as well as a lack of supervision due to the majority of the workers being careless high school students. There were numerous burns, cuts, and broken bones, and the wave pool was dubbed the grave pool since several people died there. While many of the memories of park shenanigans are given with nostalgic joy, the documentary's closing section, which focuses on George Larson Jr.'s story, takes on a rather somber tone. The child died of a brain injury after falling from the alpine slide. Mulvihill hid the tragedy, and interviews with the bereaved family expose how nefarious, selfish, and reckless he was. Despite the injuries and deaths, improving safety standards was not a priority. Action Park was like a gruesome true crime version of Disneyland. Number 7. Three Identical Strangers, 2018. Leave it alone if you have no prior knowledge of Three Identical Strangers. The less you know about it before seeing it, the better. Tim Wardle directed the documentary, which premiered at the 2018 Sundance Film Festival. Interviews, archive video, and dramatic reconstructions are included. As the title suggests, it's about the lives of three visually identical strangers named Edward Galland, David Kellman, and Robert Shafran. They met by chance when they were 19 years old, and from then a peculiar and strange story emerged. Three Identical Strangers was a Sundance blockbuster winning the Special Jury Award for Storytelling in the United States Documentary Film Festival. It's currently being made into a dramatic feature film with an unidentified title which could lead to spoiler-filled headlines in the near future. This captivating story is best savored in its entirety, so watch it before the film's plot twists are revealed by the movie buzz. Number 6. You Cannot Kill David Arquette, 2020. You Cannot Kill David Arquette. After playing Sheriff Dewey in the Scream franchise, the film follows the actor for 2 years as he attempts to return to professional wrestling. In 2000, Arquette starred in the wrestling comedy Ready to Rumble. To promote the film, he featured in a World Championship Wrestling storyline, eventually winning the WCW heavyweight title, though only for 12 days. The cross-promo seemed suitable because Arquette was a wrestling fan. It was however widely panned, and he believes it hurt his acting career. From training in Mexico to backyard brawls to more serious events, the video tracks his attempts to learn how to wrestle properly. Despite the fact that he had been constantly acting for years, albeit rarely in A-list movies, his reputation in the world of wrestling never recovered, and he became the poster boy for what was wrong with the sport. One match at a time, he seeks to restore the credibility he lost in 2000. Throughout the film, his family is bewildered as to why he cares and is properly concerned for his health, yet his dedication is inspiring. Number 5. Marwyn Call, 2010. Jeff Malmberg's film Marwyn Call is based on the life of Mark Hogenkamp, who constructed an unusual art installation to cope with his pain. Hogenkamp was severely assaulted outside a club, spent 9 days in a coma, and suffered brain damage and amnesia as a result. He couldn't afford treatment, so during World War II, he created a small Belgian town in his lawn to cope with the stress. He named the town Marwyn Call and filled it with action figures he modeled after people he knew in real life. Malmberg deftly guides Hogenkamp in unraveling his own biography while also documenting the beginning of Hogenkamp's artistic career. His photographs of Marwyn Call and its inhabitants have lately been exhibited in several New York galleries. The documentary inspired the film Welcome to Marwyn, 2018, directed by Robert Zemeckis and starring Steve Carell in the lead role, which won several awards. The film, on the other hand, mostly failed to capture the core of the documentary. Number 4. Grizzly Man, 2005. Grizzly Man. Timothy Treadwell, a bear enthusiast who was killed by a grizzly in Alaska alongside his lover Amy Huguenard, is the subject of this film. Werner Herzog's documentary includes Treadwell's own film of his encounters with brown bears, as well as interviews with others who knew him and bear experts. Even if Herzog pours too much of himself into the film, the unadorned story about the mad bear lover is riveting. Treadwell was a firm believer in humanity's potential to coexist with the natural world. He lived among wild grizzly bears for 13 summers in Alaska, who he named Mr. Chocolate and treated as enormous pets. On the one hand, his encounters with lethal animals were unavoidable, but on the other, it's amazing that he was able to survive among them for so long. Treadwell is a polarizing figure, with some considering him deranged and others idolizing him. Number 3. Behind the Curve, 2018. Despite the fact that scientific study has shown that the Earth is spherical for over 2 millennia, some people believe the Earth is flat. Daniel J. Clark's book Behind the Curve is about flat earthers, with a focus on 2 prominent members of the society, Mark Sargent and Patricia Steere. The documentary includes interviews with experts who obviously refute the flat Earth theory, but the story's driving force is the flat earthers themselves. Clark approaches Sargent and Steere with empathy rather than contempt, as he seeks to understand them on their own terms. He claims that shaming someone does not change their feelings about something. As a result, rather than feeling exploitative or unpleasant, the film feels empathetic. Giving flat earthers space to express their hypothesis and filming their attempts to prove it through various tests has moments of humorous absurdity which of course fail. Number 2. The King of Kong, A Fistful of Quarters, 2007. Seth Gordon's documentary follows an unemployed engineer named Steve Wiebe and a restaurateur named Billy Mitchell as they battle for the highest score on the arcade game Donkey Kong. Mitchell is the current champion and dresses up as a bad guy from an action movie, whereas Wiebe is a kind family man. It's amusing, nostalgic, and thrilling all at the same time. The King of Kong will persuade you to play whether or not you have fond memories of hours spent feeding quarters into arcade machines. Mitchell's scores have now come under doubt because of his use of a multiple arcade system emulator, MAME, rather than an actual arcade machine. Scores are supposed to be logged on arcade hardware because emulation software can simply be exploited to cheat. Mitchell's records were removed by Twin Galaxies, an organization dedicated to monitoring top scores in arcade games, and Guinness, however the latter has since reinstated them. Number 1. Best Worst Movie, 2009. Before watching Best Worst Movie, it's required that you've seen the movie It's About Troll 2, which is so bad it's good, 1990. Troll 2 was formerly called as Goblins and has nothing to do with the Troll franchise, 1986. The story follows a family on vacation to Nilbog, goblin spelled backward, a realm where vegetarian goblins turn people into plants to eat. A strange sex scene with popcorn is also included. Best Worst Movie is a documentary directed by the film's child star Michael Stevenson, chronicling the making of the infamous film and its reincarnation in future years. Stevenson spent years feeling very humiliated by his role in Troll 2 when he was 10 years old. However, as an adult, he observed that the video was being kind of promoted, which inspired him to create a documentary. Stevenson talks to a number of members of the cast and crew about their experiences producing the unintentionally hilarious picture as well as its unexpected success. The film Best Worst Movie is a light-hearted look at how a disaster became a beloved cult classic.